So let's go through a couple of the changes that are happening right now. So I would say one of the biggest ones that we're seeing and tracking very, very closely is with Google. It's the biggest player by far, even though you have some of these other options like Search GPT and Perplexity. It's they're not anywhere close to the level of adoption. Now there's some anecdotal statistics that talk about how maybe they're losing market share or maybe more people are using these alternatives, but it's still not super significant. And I think you could debate it a couple ways. But as of now, Google has launched their Gemini product. Where you're probably seeing it most and where we see the biggest impact on lawyers right now are Google AI overviews. And so you're probably familiar with them. You ask a question. Most often they are coming up in information-based queries. And so that would be different than a query focused on getting a service or selecting a service. And so I'll give you an example. Somebody who searches family lawyer Tuscaloosa likely is going to get a list of attorneys. You're going to see the map pack. You may not get likely not going to get a AI overview. Now, if that same person were to search, what are my options for divorce in Alabama? You're now going to have a high probability that you will see an AI overview. And what it's going to do is more or less collect some of the top results, summarize them, kind of, roughly fact check them against each other. And it's going to extract all of that information and put it up on the, on the screen so the person can get their question answered really quickly. So it reminds me of when featured snippets started rolling out, and it was kind of, I don't know, good and bad, because if somebody asked a question, then you could kind of get the answer directly in the result. And so it's that's helpful. But from a content production or content producer point of view, kind of sucks, because then it's, they're basically taking out the best part or the answer and more or less, removing you from the equation, right? So tough to say exactly how this will shake out, but I see a lot of similarities between those. Google is still the number one choice by far. According to the latest estimates, 75% of all search traffic is going to go through Google. But we're starting to maybe see some chips in that armor. There's two factors driving that, or that I think are maybe reducing the market of Google. Number one, ChatGPT, Search GPT is up to 8% of market saturation in terms of people going to Search to GPT to get questions answered, and that is from 1% just a few months ago. So 8% is not an enormous amount, but what we're tracking, or what we think is more significant, is that quick turn, right, in the market, where it was 1%, kind of this extremely underutilized thing, not really of any significance, and now it's up to 8%. So, and pretty quickly, right? And so as soon as these deeper integrations really play out into all of your phones, all of your smart devices at home, your work, your email, the more that these integrations get rolled out, the more you're going to see, I think, this shift happen. And so it's really, in a lot of ways, a gold rush right now to see who can kind of get out there first. So final point on Google, and kind of why I think now, there is a legitimate chance that their dominance will be disrupted, is that regulators have been cracking down on Google as a monopoly. They've been involved in some litigation over the past few years, and it's been largely, negative in terms of the findings. And so there's going to be pressure at some point for Google to kind of decouple their offerings, or it's going to maybe limit some of the things that they want to do in terms of moving or advertising one part of their business to another, and how they integrate, the AI, the Gemini products across their ecosystem and things like that. So just more pressure. And I think now with ChatGPT, or Search GPT and ChatGPT, they are, it's unique. It's a different situation, right? And my thought on the whole matter is that ultimately people are, generally lazy. or maybe harsh, but including myself, right? Like I'm looking for the best answer, right? And so if I can go to a place where I can reliably get my answer, and it's maybe even more customized to what it knows about me and what I look for in answers and stuff like that, which is totally feasible with AI. Am I more likely to just ask that to search GPT instead of Google, where I have to maybe go look, kind of do my own research? I think it's very plausible, right? So these other hurdles of adoption and introduction are going to have to happen, but I think it's very feasible.